Hey guys, Johnny here, and before we get into tonight's show, I wanted to thank all of you for your continued patience and support of our show. The last few months have been extremely busy, not only for us hobby-wise, but in our personal lives as well. The show was recorded a few weeks prior to York, and some of the information is a bit outdated. John and I had an absolute blast meeting so many of you at York, and being able to hear all of your wonderful feedback is invaluable. I know we've been a bit lax with episodes these last couple months, but we've been working hard to line up some next level guests for 2025. Thank you not only for taking the time to listen to us, but for also being part of our community as well. We honestly wouldn't have made it this far without all of you. We thank all of you guys for what you've done for us in 2024, and we will go above and beyond to make quality content in 2025. So, without further ado, here's tonight's episode.
Today on the Miniature Models Podcast, it's been a while since we've all been together, so we thought we'd give you a summary of what we've been up to these past months and some things we are looking forward to on the horizon. What escapades have our intrepid crew been up to? All this and a whole lot more. So get your ticket from the station, grab a seat, and make sure you don't miss the train. All aboard! Good evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. I'm one of your hosts, Matt Rochford, and with me, as always, are my fellow co-hosts, Matt Z, Johnny, and John S. Guys, how are we tonight?
Doing pretty good, man. Always excited to come back on. Yeah, you finally hear me. I know it's quite literally been a while, like Stained, but no, I'm excited for tonight.
I love the fact that when you popped on your mic, you had I don't know how to describe it, you had the perfect home office library microphone that I ever heard. But it's good. It's good to be back. I guess Matt is he's working from home tonight, I suppose, since he's not in the recording booth with us tonight. But I'm glad to have everybody back together again tonight. It's been long overdue.
As am I. It's going to be a great show tonight. We've got everybody, literally everybody on the show is here tonight. This is going to be fantastic.
We got the whole gang together for a casual show, but we didn't forget our honorary guest tonight, Mr. Sid from Sid's Trainz. How are you tonight, Sid?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, as always. I'm excited to just sit around and talk this evening.
How long can we have him? How long is he considered a intern before we have to pay him?
We get paid.
I'll have to ask the accountant about that. Not even sure who the accountant is, but
we have one somewhere.
Yeah.
There's an accountant somewhere we can ask. Whether they're ours or not is completely, that's their fault. Gaslight everyone. Remember that.
So like we stated, folks, this is going to be a real casual episode. It's been a long time since we've all been together. There's no official kind of a topic here. We just wanted to kind of catch up. We did have a lot of things going on this summer, so it's a good time to talk about those adventures. Before we get started, though, because this is kind of a personal episode, I wanted to ask a question for everybody, just to kind of get everybody warmed up and stuff. So we have recorded a few episodes in the past where we discuss some of our personal life, but I figured it was a good time to kind of find out more about us. So I have a question for each of you, and I'll pick the person to start, and then that person can pick the next person. But the question is, what other hobby or hobbies do you do besides model railroading? And I'm going to direct that to our guest, Mr. Sid.
Yes, the other hobbies and other things we do. So obviously model trains has been something that I've always been interested in and kind of my passion since I was a little kid. And, whenever I have a chance, I'm down in the basement running trains, working on trains, whatever it may be, or going on trips, traveling around with friends and whatnot. But my other main hobby at this point in time is cars. I like working on cars. I own a couple of cars now. And that's kind of what I've been doing as of late, and a lot over the summer. And it wasn't really a purchase per se, but I was able to obtain another Chevrolet Corvette when I was 17. I got my first car, which was a 1996 Chevrolet Corvette. It was a very nice car, good condition. There was not really any intentions to work on it. I wanted my first car to be fun and something I can drive and just have fun and have to worry about. But like with the Trainz, I'm interested in the how they work, fixing them, and stuff like that. And so I was able to obtain another Corvette from the same generation, a C4 Corvette, but this one being from 1987. A little bit older. It's also my first car was black. This one is more of a burnt orange color, and I was able to obtain that through my brother. And the whole summer, if I wasn't working on Trainz or traveling, I was working on this car. And that was just that's just my kind of passion right now, other than Trainz, is just working on cars, because I find it enjoyable. It's like the Trainz, but at a larger scale. um the Trainz are very intricate. All the electronics, cars are very mechanical, they're large. They have the engines, the suspension, the transmission, the cosmetics, the interior sound systems for stereos and all kinds of things. And so I took this 1987 Corvette and was able to kind of restore it. It was in somewhat poor condition, but it had very low miles, so cosmetically it was okay. So I was able to restore it and kind of turn it into a daily driver. So that's really been my focus, other than Trainz, as of late. And ever since I was first introduced to cars, that's kind of been my other passion and hobby. And uh, probably the most fun thing I did this summer with that car was drive it all the way to Detroit, which I bet you we'll be talking about that later in the show. And fortunately, I was able to drive out with one of the hosts here, John. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, cars and working on cars and collecting them is my other kind of passion, other than Trainz.
That's awesome, dude. So who do you nominate next?
I nominate. Hey, I guess I mentioned him already. So, John, we'll pass the baton to you.
John sweats profusely, thinking of interesting things about him that don't involve Trainz. My hobby is collecting more time for thinking. No, thank you, Sid. That was a great trip we did in the vet there. You sharing your passion with cars, with kind of the whole group, but especially just recently you and I talking about them, and I've learned a ton from you. So that's been really fun, just kind of learning stuff over the summer and taking our trips and everything. That was one of the best parts of that trip was the vet. But yeah, in terms of my other hobbies, my main other hobby I would say is I am a collector at heart of just in general. So the other thing I love to collect is media. So I have and it can be any kind. I do vinyl records, films, books, anything really, all that kind of stuff. I love, searching down the best versions of films and books, certain editions that are really nice. If they have a really nice, artwork on them or cover, or a certain specific, like a promotional copy that wasn't sold anywhere else, a really interesting version of the film. It's like a remastered version or an original version. If it's a Blu-ray release, or like a DVD that was a better release, or even a VHS release, all that kind of stuff. That's my other main. I would say the only thing I really go into as much as I do Trainz is that sort of focus on media, because I think it's such an interesting, it's art. It's an expression of just like with Trainz, it's an expression of ourselves. Media is kind of the reversal. It's kind of what we find interesting about the rest of the world. It's rather than creating something, it's taking something in. So it kind of shows, it's a way to showcase all of your other interests across a variety of different mediums. And that's what I find interesting about it. But that's my other main hobby I like to indulge myself in. I'm just looking right now at the sizable library I have to the left of me of just all this stuff that I should go into. I should look at more. I sadly don't. That's one of the pains of adulthood: having money to buy things, but then not having the time to indulge in them. So that would be my other real, as Richard Cohen say, my other real love, getting into the sound of it. That's my other main hobby I like to do.
Oh my gosh, you're killing me with
You'd
that.
love that. Let's see who we gonna do next. I'm gonna pass it off to Mr. Jeannet. What you got, sir?
Well, I guess my other main hobby has to be outside of train, which is very different in terms of communities. I think it has to be going to anime conventions and cosplaying. That's a big part of it for me. It was something I got into around high school, and when I really didn't care much for the genre for anime, but I really got into it then, and it's been really fun because you meet some of the most interesting and most friendly and inviting people that I know through that community, and it's it's like its own vacation. It's like going to a completely different culture almost of being able to immerse yourself in so much awesome media, so many awesome folks who are just wanting to hang out, and there's no judgment. I love that so much. There's so many different facets and ideas and concepts that are discussed through anime, and the art form only lends itself to that. And it's something I've actually gotten back into thanks to John, because we both had that mutual appreciation for it. And over the summer, we started watching some shows together, and it really got me back into watching some stuff on my own as well as with John. And I'm really excited to be able to have him join later this year, to go to take him to his first proper anime convention together. You know, we'll cosplay stuff together and do a bunch of cool stuff. So that's really been my main thing. It's been something I've been really into since I was in high school, and it's really stayed with me. Well, you know, as I've gotten older as an adult and such. So it's very different communities, but both bring immense amounts of joy.
Yeah, I can't wait for some of that stuff later, man. It's been great. You know, because it's like I said with the media stuff. It's part of media that I've always loved is anime ever since I was a kid, and getting to having someone to really share it with has been absolutely fantastic.
For sure, for sure. Actually, Matt R, I'll throw this to you. You actually got to experience some of that too, as well, haven't you?
I have, because my daughter is very much into cosplay, and I never was into that until she wanted to go to some of these conventions. And I do have to say, I was very, very impressed, man. Some of the things that people create, like from scratch, because you can tell these are costumes and cosplay outfits that people make, and it takes months. It's impressive. It's like movie quality stuff. So very, very impressive. And the one thing I have to say, I'm not a huge convention person, but I have been in the last couple of years. I will say the anime conventions, the nicest people ever. Like, I'm not just talking like the people going, but like the vendors and stuff, just like so kind, so nice, just easy to work with. So yeah, very positive experience.
That's awesome. Well, what's your alternative hobbies to when you're not doing trains, Matt?
I just do trains. That's all I do. No,
He's the train man. R stands for railroad. Matt Railroad.
I live in a train. I sleep in a train. No, yeah,
You are a train.
I'm a train. I do have a few. The first thing is I'm an avid video gamer on the PC and the PS5. I'm huge into the Dark Souls kind of games. I like the risk versus reward kind of challenging games. I like RPGs. I like MMOs. I play Overwatch too. And I also share this passion with my daughter, who I started on gaming when she was like 5. You got to start them early. So she's into it too. We play Fortnite sometimes as well. If for those that have played Fortnite, like she builds a tower in like 2 nanoseconds, and I don't build at all. So, I kind of don't do well at Fortnite. Not my thing. But enjoyable. I really enjoy video games, and it's stuff that I share with my friends too. Friends from grade school and high school. We have certain nights that we game and stuff like that. And then secondly, I collect Transformers, but not the Transformers you think, not the train hobby kind that power our layouts. I'm talking about the TV show from the 80s. All right. So the toys, the robots in disguise kind of things. And so I'm very much into that. It's my favorite show of like all time. I should say my favorite cartoon of all time. I grew up on Transformers. Like that was the thing to do. You were either kind of G.I. Joe or Transformers. I did both, but I was very heavy into Transformers. And I still am today. I love it. And I recently actually just saw the new movie, Transformers 1, and it was excellent. So if you're a huge Transformers fan, please go see it. We are not sponsored by Transformers 1, by the way. Favorite Transformer? Soundwave, without a doubt. All right. Well, I'll direct this over to Matt Z.
For me, it's records. Kind of like John's talking about vinyl records. That's definitely my other hobby. I don't listen to my records as much as I should, but I definitely do have a growing collection. And when I have a local record shop that I haven't visited them in quite a while, but when I think about it, I go there, and every now and again I'll put on a record, or if I see something that catches my eye, usually something Springsteen. Yes, Matt. You can't be an episode without me and without Springsteen.
It's required that Springsteen be mentioned.
Always. But no, that's definitely my other passion besides trains is definitely records, and kind of like that whole section of physical media that is coming back. Yes, but it's just the history of it and how it came to be and all that. And I have other types of music too, cassettes and 8-tracks and all that, but definitely records are my favorite of the bunch.
Matt, I gotta ask, do you get to the level of pedanticism I get to, where I don't have a lot of records, but like I actually look at the actual carved marks on them to see what like plant they were made at, and do you get to that level of nerdery? Because like,
hey, yo, yeah, yo.
I don't go quite that far, but
I've done that for a couple of mine. I didn't know if you were also that level of nerdery.
I definitely like I more so look for like titles of records that I really always liked. I know when I bought like 404, oh man, I was so excited when I bought that. Like much like with the Trainz, I could tell you like where I bought every record, what it means and all this sort of thing. And it's just a fun little side hobby that I like to do. But no, I love it. It is so fun.
I always hunt for the promotional copies that have the stickers "Not for sale," radio use only.
Oh, I got a couple of those.
I love that stuff.
It. Oh man,
fun
so cool.
Yes, Sid, you also do have you guys. Well, your family in general has a huge media collection.
Have a huge collection of just media in general and records, especially. But see, something I don't think I've actually ever talked about this with any of you. I have a lot of memorabilia and media and stuff up in my bedroom on shelves. I'm just kind of displaying it, and I have two of the Lionel records that aren't like actually thick plastic. They're actually this very thin sheet that has a piece of paper in the middle that displays like the image of a train. And so when you play, they're very flimsy. They're almost like a plastic folder, like that kind of very thin material. They've gotten wavy over the years, but when you play them, they were intended to replicate the sound of trains. And so when you'd run your post-war trains, you'd hear the sounds of trains running. And so that's kind of an interesting train related piece of media that I have, and just kind of neat. I remember I was given, I was like, that's so cool. I remember seeing it in the TM videos, because TM showed it off in one of their videos. But yeah, no, I have a very large collection of media. Mainly belongs to my family, but in the room that I have my trains displayed in, there's a big wall of records and cassette tapes.
You have to educate me on Knight Rider. We have to
Knight Rider, the greatest 80s TV show. Changed my mind.
Yeah, as a child of the 80s, I'll agree with Knight Rider. I used to love Knight Rider.
I've never seen it. Not one episode. I have to.
There's another show too, but it might be a little nowadays. It's probably a little faux pas to talk about it, but it was
I know.
I think I know what you're talking about.
The Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine.
I still love the Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, I grew up I had two younger brothers. Like, we lived in just like, I mean, come on, it's cars jumping over freaking everything, every episode. Boss Hog and Roscoe Pico Train, and it was it was. I mean, there were other things about it too, but again, we'll stay PG here.
Yeah, no, well, that's just the thing. The interesting thing about the 80s is all the TV shows are based around a car somehow. Like every single one you can think of: Dukes of Hazzard, Knight Rider, A-Team, Magnum PI. Just heck, even the Hulk had.
Miami Vice. Didn't he have a Lamborghini?
The
Yes, there's so many things. But they're all just kind of based around cars, and so that's kind of where it ties in. I just love the 80s, but yeah, no, Knight Riders, lots of cool media, and there's a whole community of like historians that have tracked down like the original cars and props and so many things. It's really
I love that stuff. Lost media is another huge thing of mine. I love researching lost media stuff. That's huge. I don't know if you guys are into that too, but that's a big fascination for me, is finding old missing stuff. I just do it passively. Like there's a huge community out there that does all that kind of stuff, finding like lost pilots and talking with like, storyboard artists and creators and like, people who might have these things in private collections. But that's a whole huge thing. Matt R., I had a quick question for you, back to video games for a second. Being a bit of a train guy and also liking history, Red Dead 2 or any of the Red Dead Redemption games, come on. Like that's like one of the best games ever. Have you indulged at all?
Yeah, so those games are fantastic. I have a problem with the open world games is I tend to just get lost and I never end. I just keep getting to do like side quests the whole time and I never actually like do the main campaign. So
that's me too.
It's a little like I like a little bit of linear just to kind of keep me focused. Because if it's not, I tend to just I lose myself under the game and I never accomplish anything. But yeah, very, very good game for sure.
Oh, I'm glad to hear we have another appreciator of it.
Looking to expand your collection? Check out Trainz.com. Trainz is your go-to place for new and used model railroad products. They have everything ranging from engines, rolling stock, parts, track, and scenery. If you need it, they probably have it. With new discounts being added daily, you'll be sure to find something you like. Plus, Trainz offers a newsletter which keeps you up to date on new items, discounts, and upcoming promotions. We've been using Trainz for years, and we highly recommend their stellar service. What's really cool is you can also collect points by buying Trainz and using them on future purchases. With their awesome rewards program, you can earn points on every purchase that you can use for future discounts. Dedicated modelers can also join their private card membership to get exclusive access to new listings, earn 5 points per dollar spent, and unlock great benefits like no questions asked returns. Trainz not only sells trains, but also buys them too. If you got a large collection or are interested in downsizing and making some cash, you can head on over to sellmytrains.com. It doesn't get easier than that. You can find them using our affiliate link, www.trainz.com/MMOP, or if you want to use our one-time promo code MMOP, you can get $10 off a single purchase on the Trainz.com website. So check out Trainz.com and start expanding your collection today.
Well, let's go ahead and speaking of going back to cars, let's segue into a car trip that was taken recently to Trainapalooza. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, well, for the folks that did go to Trainapalooza, tell us about it.
Am I going first, John, or you want to go?
Yeah, go for it, man. I mean, you drove, so you were the driving force. Pun.
So
insert laughter canned.
So the trip, yes, Trainapalooza is a event that happens in Detroit. It's sort of a private thing, but it's all over YouTube because a bunch of YouTubers in the train community go, and we sometimes film and make videos on it. And so it happens in Detroit. It's hosted by members of the Detroit Three Railers. And like I said earlier, I got that 1987 Corvette that I fixed up ready for that trip. I was really working hard to get it ready, and luckily it was ready. And John and I drove all the way from Maryland all the way to Detroit and back, and the trip was a lot of fun. There was no issues with the car, and there was never a moment where we were just silent. Like we were always talking, or if we weren't talking, we were like one of us was like me adjusting the radio or John finding something on his phone or whatever it is. There was just never a moment where we weren't entertained by something. And I think one of the most interesting things physically on the trip was watching the scenery change as you go from Maryland to Pennsylvania to Ohio and then to Michigan. And it's just these very drastic changes, even within just Pennsylvania, but going through from eastern Pennsylvania to western Pennsylvania through this one tunnel. It's just this drastic change in landscape. So that was a lot of fun.
I swear to God, that tunnel, if I might interject for a moment, just because it's topical, I swear to God, if any of you have ever been on the Pennsy Turnpike before and have gone through Allegheny Mountain Tunnel,
yeah,
it's literally like you're changing world tiles. It's like you're in a loading screen for the next part of the world, because the disparity between the two portals of the tunnel is just long enough where it feels like a loading screen. And those two sides of that tunnel are completely different topographically. Change my mind. Prove to me that isn't a world break right there.
It really is. Just the scenery change. You go from one side, and like eastern Pennsylvania is very similar to like western Maryland. It's mountainous. It's hilly. There's grass, whatever, trees everywhere. And then you go through the tunnel, and then it just kind of changes to like weird rolly hills kind of scenery, and then out of nowhere there'll be a mountain. It's very strange. It's a very drastic difference. But no, the trip was a lot of fun. The car was a lot of fun. Just zooming around. The tunnel. There's no one in that. By chance, I think when we got to the tunnel, there was nobody in front of us in the tunnel both times. So I just decided to put the windows down. I just gunned it through. The car, it's a Corvette. It's loud, so it's just echoing through the tunnel, and it was just a ton of fun. But enough of getting driving there and all that. There was, of course, Trainapalooza itself. I don't know where to start, really. There's kind of a lot that happened.
We had a ton of stuff go on. For reference, this was kind of a different Palooza this time. It was kind of very akin to the previous ones, were kind of, you went to like two houses, usually, like Jason Stuckert's house. And then, we would have, like, last year we went to the Brownings. And so usually it's more of like a stationary affair. This time we did kind of like a TCA convention where you kind of visit different layouts on a schedule. And that was really, really fun. I mean, me personally, I don't know if you had done one of those kinds of things before, Sid. I had never done something like that. So I thought it was going to be kind of hectic, but it was really, really enjoyable. I hung out with, you and I did our trip, to and from traveling. And then when we got up there, I was rooming with Tony, the Rambles. He was so much fun to spend time with. He and I drove around. We covered a ton of Michigan. Going all over the place. We saw a bunch of different layouts, which have been extensively covered all across social media and in videos. Everybody was really, really friendly at all different kinds of stuff too. Like, it was really, really, really enjoyable. Super, super fun. And just being with all our friends too was great. Getting to, spend time with them and travel around was really nice. And just seeing, it's fun to enjoy other stuff with your friends for the first time, because it just makes the shared experience so much nicer.
Yeah, that trip was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was very different from prior Paloozas. It was totally different for me because I didn't even get to go to the one where it was Jason's and the Brownings. I had only ever gone when it was just at Jason's. And maybe some people, went to a train store or went to another house for kind of like a private, little show for themselves. But yeah, just traveling around to all the different places. I thought I was going to be exhausted after one day, but no, I was full of energy the whole time, and it was really cool getting to see everything. Every layout was different. I guess I'm kind of like this kind of cookie cutter, but like Norm's layout and just being with like Norm is an awesome person.
Yes,
it's just
Norm,
fantastic.
if you're listening, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Norm, as always, for having everyone over. Your not only your layout and collection is fantastic, but I of course working on the trains. Your workshop is just fantastic. You have all the you have the mills and the 3D printers and all the tools. It's really cool. But yeah, no, it was a great trip. And funny enough, I'm gonna skip back to cars for a second. The first day when we got there, there was nothing happening. I think it was Thursday was kind of just a arrival day, where people were arriving at hotels and just hanging out. And so John and I got to Jason Stuckert's house, and a few other people were hanging out that day. And the Lamberts, Dave and Don Lambert, they have a layout in their basement, and they were part of the whole kind of their layout was, I think, on Friday. But Dave stopped by Jason's to hang out for a little, and as a car guy, Dave has a very cool car. He has a 2019 Camaro SS, and it's just a fantastic car to stick, and just really cool car. And I had no intentions or even thought of driving the car. And John and I went and looked at it with him. He actually let me drive the car around. We went to Woodward. I never thought I'd drive a brand new Camaro on Woodward Avenue. That was fantastic. But after
that was so cool.
It was so cool. Like I'd never driven a car quite.
That road, Sid, real quick, if I can interject, isn't that like the first paved road in America?
Yeah, that road.
Oh my god, all the classic cars. It's like a parade almost, with all the classic cars driving up and down at night.
Cars everywhere, exotic cars. And then, of course, it's weird because you're in Michigan, so you have like the Michigan U-turn left thing where you have to make you have to go past where you want to turn, make a U-turn, and then go back, and then turn right to go that way. It's very strange. So there's a lot of traffic lights and things like that. And we got on Woodward, and then we just kind of just started driving forever. And finally, I was like, "Are we gonna turn around?" Because I had no idea where I was going. But that was a lot of fun, but I never thought I'd get to go to this place, and I don't think, John, you had any thought of going here. Dave took us onto one of the large facilities that General Motors owns. I forgot the name of it now. It's
like the research and design center, where they plan everything. It's kind of like the whole Mad Men concept, like that idea.
I forgot the name of it, but it's huge. It's like the size of like 2 college campuses. There's a set of railroad tracks that run through the middle of it. There's tunnels that go underneath it. There's buildings everywhere. Heck, it's
very mid-century mod style.
And there's a building just for specking out this like almost $500,000 Cadillac. Like, it's just crazy. And so that was just neat for me. I never thought I'd get to go there. I'm looking around. I'm like, he's just saying that's where they designed this, and that's a building where it was just very, very cool stuff. Like, you go on these trips, and obviously it's about Trainz, but it's honestly what you do with people and just hanging out with people. That's the best part about these trips. Trainz is what kind of brings us together, but it's not always about the Trainz. And that's kind of why I like all the trips that we have listed here. Is that it's about Trainz, but there's so much else you can do with train friends, whether it's just talking about trains, hanging out, going out, and just hanging out together, doing other things, whatever it may be. That whole trip to Detroit this summer was just kind of a conglomeration of fun, whether it was train related or not.
It's a kind of the theme for the night, isn't it? Based on Matt R's question of kind of like the things you can do, like your train friends obviously are your train friends, but like, it's so great when you bond with your train friends and expand outward from that, like how Johnny and I share our love of anime and media and everything. Yeah. And like Matt R, with all of us with the stuff. It's great. It's so nice learning about everything that we enjoy together, and it makes the bond so much stronger. So yeah, that was really fun. Also, just as a side thing, it's funny because I'm a very casual car guy, and I mean that like in the strictest sense, like Top Gear's personal knowledge of cars, when they're like, how does this go into the I don't know where is this. Welcome to Top Gear, the world's leading motoring show. Like that level of cars is how much I enjoy them and like know about them. So being with I like cars a lot, but when I'm with like uber car guys like the Lamberts and Sid, it's funny being very much the lay person when they're talking about like, does this one have a 350 overhead cam Z-Rock rad backhead filter modification on the back end turbo? And I'm just like, I like it when they go fast. It's fun when noise happens. The car made my pants feel funny. That's like that's I like it when I like the blue one. Like that does this one have wheels? That's my level of car when I'm with these guys. But no, that was a lot of fun. And my God, Sid, that Corvette was ridiculously comfortable. Like that was one of the nicest car trips I've ever been in, because everybody was like, "Ooh, you're gonna go into Michigan in a Corvette? It's gonna be so uncomfortable." And it was literally it was like riding a sofa the whole way there, a powerful sofa.
That car is pretty. That one in particular is pretty comfortable. My other one is, I'd say, pretty comfortable. That one is very, very, very nice. And the joke is the transmission tunnel provides you a nice leg warmer.
Yes, it did. It was automatic leg warmer.
But yeah, no, that was just a fantastic just trip in general. It just combined so many great things, and I don't think I'll ever be able to say thank you enough to all the people that made that whole thing possible. Obviously, Jason Stuckert is just, the kind of planner for that every year, even if it's not all at his place. So Jason, just thank you as always for planning that out. It's I know it takes a lot, and there's a lot that goes into that, the logistics and where all people need to be, food, just all that kind of stuff. So Jason and all the D3R, thank you for putting that on for all of us.
The D3R guys, we got to laud them for a sec. They are such a friendly group of people. They are so nice and welcoming, and just they instantly make you feel like family. It's such a nice club.
Yeah, they're like the best. You can't.
They are.
You can't beat them.
We got to then indulge in some Chicago afterward, didn't we, dare Sid?
Chicago,
yeah. We got to hand it over to Johnny Dare Show and Matt Rochford. They can tell us about what they did.
Do we sound like that, Matt?
No, you don't sound like that. That's like that's like Wisconsin Canadian.
We're just putting on the silly, our friend Jason.
Silly.
I don't know.
Oh no, I don't.
That's like Fargo almost, isn't it? That's not even Chicago.
I feel like if you speak like that, then like a Bass Pro hat just materializes on top of your head.
Everything just starts being covered in chili in my refrigerator.
Oh my god.
Oh god. But yes, we had our fantastic little Chicago sojourn, didn't we? It was like a month of traveling for us, like all the way around. All of us, we were just rushing all over the country, weren't we?
Yeah, there was a lot going on for like a month straight. Heck, I barely made it to Chicago.
Yeah, you nearly missed the trip, which we would have been very sad if you did. But we were willing to move it back, but thankfully we didn't have to. We had another meetup. We had one back in March, but of course that wasn't long enough. So I put together a little hangout for the guys to come back in. I think it was September. Not September. It was July. Thank you.
Yes, it was July.
So I had you guys come down in July, and I love doing those hangouts with you guys because I try to cram as much as we can in that weekend because Chicago is so railroad rich, and we're gifted with so many hobby shops, so many great places. So having you guys come back again was great because Sid usually comes out around March. Well, it's really nice because it's really nice chill weather, and you get to go to a bunch of places. The one place I could never take Sid to is IRM. And I talk the world of this place, and it's so much fun. But I've never been able to take Sid there to really explain why I'm such a foamer for it. So that was the big stop for that trip. So you guys arrived around Friday. We met up with some of the guys from Chicago group, like Sean and Jason and Tim, and we got some late night food. Which was very fun, as always.
Yes.
Saturday was the big day for IRM. Mm-hmm. So we got up, we went to get breakfast that has a signature dish that's named after Matt Rochford. Totally named after Matt Rochford. Of
Definitely
course.
named after
We
Matt Rochford.
love Matt's meat.
We enjoy all of Matt's meat.
Just puns all day long. We go there.
For anybody who's familiar with the breakfast chain Egg Harbor Cafe, if you're familiar with the platter Matt's meat, then you can we'll put 1 and 2 together. But we drove out to IRM, and I was really excited to take you guys out there because I think John, you put it the best. It is an experience. It's like a train amusement park.
It is a train amusement park. Oh my god, dude. Hopefully, like, it was a perfect day that we went. It was one of those like textbook sunny, no clouds in the sky days. There was not a lot of people there too. This is on a Saturday. It was Saturday, right? Wasn't it? Was it Saturday?
Yeah, it was on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the most textbook perfect storybook days in terms of how everything went so smoothly. It was such a great experience getting to go to this place that I'd seen, Johnny, like you said, you talk it up so much. It did not disappoint. And it's not even, technically it's still being built. I mean, even now, it is such a great place. I don't know why that's not the National Museum. Like, no hate to the National Museum in Wisconsin that I've never been to, but like, why is IRM not the National Museum?
We operate real steam locomotives.
Yeah, it's everything. Trolley, diesel. It's literally like a theme park. We were just running around. We're like, let's go over here. Let's go back over here. Let's go this way. Let's go look at this. Let's go climb on this thing. Let's go. Let's ride the trolley. Let's do the steam engine. Let's do the thing. Just all over the place. It was ridiculously fun. We were there for a good chunk of the day too.
Basically till it closed, essentially.
More or less, yeah. It was going to a place like that on alone is one thing. Going there with all your train friends and nerding out, it's what do we always joke about, Johnny? Post-con depression. Like, it's that high that you get during something like that is such like, and you can it's about anything that you're doing with friends that's like really enjoyable. It doesn't have to be trains, it could be anything. It is such a great experience to do that kind of thing. It would words no happen.
We're podcast hosts. We know what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Welcome to the leading, O scale and model railroading podcast in the industry. It was so much fun, dude. Like, to break it down into, it was just fun. And there's never enough time on those Chicago trips. We literally were like, in March, we were like, we have to do this again. We can't wait a whole year. We have to come back. It's not enough.
For context, I think we said this when we talked about it in past, but in March, we barely slept any of the nights. But the last night, we were up until like 6 a.m. and then we had to get up at 8 a.m. to go to the airport. So we only got like 2 hours of basically laid down, closed our eyes, then opened them back up, and we had to leave. That's how like dedicated we are to just hanging out because it's so special.
Oh yeah, the adrenaline in those situations is real. We did sleep more this time. I will give us that. We were pretty tired from the trip. Yes, but.
Also because I was kind of not feeling the best. Luckily,
yes.
Whatever those like immune system gummy things, those were helping.
Oh, we were pounding those things into you.
The Sour Patch gummy immune boosters. But also it's just some of the most fun is when we're super tired and we just do goofy things at night, just like, I don't know, just messing around, chit-chatting, and I don't know.
And Sid asking questions that he thought were going to be really simply answered.
I asked some questions. I asked some questions about basically about other hobbies, I guess. And
oh my god!
Why do you enjoy your side hobby of anime?
Yeah.
And then Sid expected, I like it for 3 bullet points, and then the two artsy philosophical guys go off on a tangent for over an hour, and before Sid just starts to sleep.
The fortunate
it was literally 3 hours later.
The fortunate part was I had just taken a shower or whatever. I come down, I ask the question. I'm just comfy on the couch, and so I just let you guys.
Johnny and I are over here literally analyzing something that is part of the fabric of our being. We're literally like deconstructing our molecular like DNA of why we are the way we are. Like, and never having been asked this question before, Johnny and I are reveling in this because this thing, that's the reason that we feel that way. And Sid's just back here like his little engineer self just watching us and just interesting. Okay. Like almost like a therapist. It was literally like therapy almost.
Like there's nothing wrong with any kind of fantasy or anything or reasons to like something, but as an engineer, it's very easy to just have like some very concrete I say factual reasons. That's not really a good description, but it's very easy to just have a very simple explanation for something because it's very like straight to the point. There's not a lot of emotion to engineering and very factual things. But I got a very interesting story and explanation. I won't complain. It was interesting. It was kind of entertaining, and I learned something, which was a lot of fun. And looking back now, it's just funny. It's kind of a running joke that I'm just sitting there like, yes,
Well, before John and I derail the conversation again,
we will.
Let's go back to our to the train part of that hangout.
Yes, okay. We have a train podcast.
Yeah, we're a train podcast. IREM was really fun because not only was it a fun experience to take you guys to IREM for the first time, but also the fact that we also have Matt R join us again for I think the first time of this year that you went back to IREM actually.
That is correct. Yep.
And just getting to see everything run because it's an operating museum, as I said before. And I think you guys notice this whenever I take you on tours. If anybody who's come out to Chicago, you guys will know this by now. When we do IRM and we walk through the grounds, you have to stage everything in a certain way. Where okay, we stop and we look at these exhibits, and then we jump on the trolley, and then we check out a couple other exhibits. Then we jump on the coach train, or we jump on the interurbans. Because you have to stage it because there's so much operating equipment you can ride. You have to stage it in a way where it isn't just ride train, walk through a gazillion barns. And it's just so much to do that you really need the whole day. And getting to, speaking of riding trains, I was really excited. I'm like, oh, you guys get to see 1630. And 1630 didn't really get to pull the coach train that weekend. But I got a pleasant surprise. I got to see the Son of the Civic SD that they've got there. I've wanted to see it for forever, and we even got a chance to ride in the ride behind it actually, and get in the combine behind it, which was a really fun experience in its own. Like Matt R, I know you really enjoyed that experience a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Combine was excellent.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But I think the most fun part I think for everyone was after we finished IRM. We went back to the train bunker, which for those who aren't familiar, it's a private layout that's owned by our buddy Rafe, who's part of our Discord community, but he has been kind enough to allow us to use that space kind of as a private club for the close group of friends there. And we had done so much work prior to getting all the track work done and cleaning up the bunker and having everything set up where you guys could really enjoy running trains. And it was a really fun experience to see you guys getting to let loose with your stuff that you brought, but also it was an eye-opening experience for Matt R as well. Matt R, did you want to chime in and kind of give a summary of your accounts of events for that day?
Sure. Yeah. I guess I should probably break the news that I am rejoining O-Scale. Not that I ever left fully. I still had some pieces left, but yeah, I ended up getting an old friend back, so I'm the owner of a 4014 again.
Victory scream!
I'm still doing HO2 as well because that's what I can do in my house since I don't really have enough room to do O scale. So I'm dual wielding, gauges. So. Little Dungeons and Dragons thing there, so I'm going to dual wield gauges and go with that. But yeah, I'm really happy. I think what kind of triggered it, or what the catalyst was for that, was I was still going over to the bunker for the guys. They not as much. I mean, those guys did so much great work on that layout. But when I was there, I felt out of place because I was, watching everybody else run all their awesome trains, and obviously they're always nice and said, "Hey, run whatever you want, Matt." But I was kind of like, "Yeah, but I want to run something I own." There's always something to that. So that's when I decided, what, like I got to get back into this. So, not only do I own a big boy, I own some water tenders, a nice passenger set. UP passenger set, the MTH Premier one. It's got kind of a gloss to it, but that set actually matches my. Yeah. I was waiting for that.
It matches another train that we'll have to wait for later.
Oh yes, I'll keep that. I'll keep that in suspense. Yes. I'll keep that in suspense. You're right, Johnny. So,
well, but yeah, it was a fun day, and you, John and Sid, this was your guys' first time at the bunker, if memory serves you right?
No, we go in March.
We had gone in March because.
Did you go in March?
Yeah,
was it March?
Did.
Okay.
We spent a lot more time there.
Yeah, the difference this time was just kind of the state of the layout, having the cork down, and the layout being a little more functional as the track was kind of more finalized.
And meeting Rafe.
Yes, and meeting Rafe,
who is fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. Did we? Hold on. I'm gonna quickly make a quick pause. Did we actually have you guys swing by last time?
We did. It was at the very end.
Oh yes. After the 2-rail show.
Yes, after the 2-rail show.
I brought the 49er. Remember?
We did a lot of stuff that day. That was a busy day.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Yeah. No, that was fun, and getting to see the Yellow Belly in person, and also the Mercury was. Oh my god, that was so much fun.
Oh, they looked so good. We have that layout highlights fast running. It is so fun to run on a fast layout. It's essentially like, it's like one of those test tracks where you can, you can just get things up to full speed. But Matt, it was so great. Like, because over that trip, we kind of you kind of came back to us with because it was so nice just being there with you when you like made that decision and everything. Because O-Scale never lets you go. If you anyone who's done it and goes to something else, you never sell all your stuff. And you hadn't sold all your stuff, had you, Matt? I mean, we always kind of talk about you never got rid of all your stuff.
No, I kept most of my always kept my CTA stuff, and some off Chicago commuter type engines and locomotives. So.
Yeah. And it's not like, again, we're not denouncing HO that it's bad, but we all do O as our main scale. And you are still going to stick with HO too, aren't you, Matt? Like that's going to be one of your main, like you said, dual wielding, doing both.
I am. I'm very, very heavily invested into HO. I have,
so good.
Yeah. Well, there's just, not to make this again, not to delve into HO, but there's just a lot of engines, rolling stock stuff, a Metra. Even though Atlas just made all this Metra stuff, I was like, come on, really? But for me, I'm going to probably just for O-Scale wise, again, we'll probably talk about this more later on, but just really quickly, probably just going to focus on like one particular railroad for O-Scale and then the rest of the Chicago commuting stuff that I always love. But I'm going to do both. I'm going to balance both. But like I said, I can do HO at home because, and actually, just to kind of like give this little bit of news is I did take my larger HO scale layout at home. I went through a kind of a rebuilding my living space. I kind of had to do it. But it's much better now, and I have a better living area that I can be in. I did have to take the larger HO scale layout down, which was basically my old O scale layout, right? But in the last 2 weeks, I've actually rebuilt a smaller 4x8 HO layout, which from HO 4x8 is actually pretty decent. 2 loops, yard switches, all kinds of stuff. So I'm starting to rebuild that, and it's in a space that I can manage here and it's not blocking anything. So I'm really, really happy about that. And I'm hoping to start making some more post stuff on Instagram, maybe some YouTube videos. So start to get kind of ramped up and back into that as well.
Gotta get you over 2K subs, man. You've been so close for so long.
I've been hovering at like 1995, I think, for the past year.
Everyone go sub to Matt R right now if you haven't. Why are you not?
I think I'm lucky that I haven't actually lost subscribers. For those that are, so I thank everyone who is subscribed to me. I appreciate you, your patience with me as well. But yeah, I'm going to start up again pretty soon here.
Matt R, equipped big boy.
Matt R, equipped big boy.
It's super effective.
Well, we'll touch on. Oh, go ahead.
No, it was, that had to be the quintessential engine to get me back in, right? So,
well, I'm glad I could help you get back into O-Scale,
I appreciate that, Johnny. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, dude.
I was glad to help you out too.
Yes. I thank you for the trade that we did. Now we get to utilize this for the podcast.
Absolutely.
But yeah. Okay, man.
No, it was funny when Johnny was kind of telling me about that a little bit, and no sooner did he tell me, Ratcher messaged me for water tender. I had the flag one, and he messaged me, says, "Can I buy it back?" I'm thinking, wait, what? What'd you use it for? You know what I mean? And then he told me that he was getting back in. So I'm like, well, yeah, I'll think about it. So I still had the big boy, and I really liked it and everything else. I'm like, oh hell, take it. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, Matt. So hey, we got to keep the inside trading going anyway. That's that's our normal way of life here at the podcast.
You got that
That's
right.
the shtick.
We got more on the way too yet.
Absolutely, yeah, that's true
for sure. But yeah, no, just to kind of wrap a little nice bow around it. But Matt obviously is still doing others, doing HO and stuff as well. In fact, we indulged in that on the last day. We went to the local Elmhurst Model Railroad Club that is HO and N skill focused. Got to have you guys meet Rafe and hang out with him, and we spent a what was supposed to be a quick stop by became a let's be here for a couple hours at the bunker while Matt runs his big boy.
Yep.
But it was a fun weekend, and I'm very glad that we were able to do that.
Want to support your favorite O-Scale podcast and rock some awesome merch? Well, now you can. We've teamed up with Redbubble.com and have come up with a great selection of gear that you can get right now. They have everything from shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, bags, you name it. Heck, you could even get a wall clock with us on it. All this great stuff and more at Redbubble.com. Links are down in the show notes, so grab yourself some gear and rock some awesome podcast merch.
Well, how about this? Since we've been talking quite a bit about our trips, Matt Z, I'm going to throw the mic over to you. What did you get up to this summer, man? Did you end up stopping by the Lionel store? I can't remember if you did this time around.
Yes, I did. When we went to South Carolina, we kind of made this our trip. We kind of said, this was always fun. We did it last year, and we really liked that. And we're like, we want to do a trip. Why don't we do South Carolina again? So we did Myrtle Beach, and that was a lot of fun. I'm like, we kind of talked about it last year. I'm like, well, we're this close to the Lionel store. I'm not gonna, not be this close and not stop. So last year I bought some things. I bought the Trippy Trolley, and I bought the E7B unit for my E7s, and that was so much fun. And I'm like, when we're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, well, we're gonna go, and I'm gonna go to the Lionel store. So we decided if we were gonna go before or after the trip, and we ended up going after. So I went there, and my buddy Dan, Dashing Dan on the Discord, he went there for a business trip, and he was showing off some of the stuff, and they have the section where they discount the engines and stuff. So I went ahead and grabbed a Canadian National Mogul, the number 89, which is the one I was going to buy from the catalog. I just never did that. And ironically enough, not too long after that, Johnny, you shipped me an engine, and I said that my pre-orders for that catalog had arrived only 2 years late, but we'll talk about that later on. But so I did that, and then out of the corner of my eyes, I was looking for that engine, that steamer. So I'm like, oh, I really want this. So I kind of beeline for that, and I'm like, okay, cool. I kind of, eyed around everything else. I saw Dreyfuses and I1s and a whole stack of big boys and decapods and whatever else. I'm like, oh, these are cool. And then out of the corner of my eye, I saw the rocket launcher. And I forgot that. I remember it was cataloged. I didn't even know when it shipped or was even being made, because some of those bigger accessories lines had to cancel, unfortunately. But when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I gotta get this. So I bought that too, and that thing is so fun. If you haven't seen it, I did my most recent layout update video. I talked about that, and I showed it off, and that thing's just so fun. The rocket that flies off, and all the announcements, and the smoke, and everything else. That is a very fun feature. Feature packed accessory. The operating accessories are always something I've always liked, but that's definitely one to get. So, but yes, I did do that, and that was a lot of fun. I spent way more money than I thought I was going to, but can you do?
That's always the way. Oh, I'm sorry.
You never go to a hobby shop and not spend money. Let's be honest, dude.
Oh yeah,
like, especially line now. Come on now.
Oh yeah, I was thinking, I'll buy that steamer, and I'm like, okay, this is already $500. Great, you know what I mean? But I'm like,
yeah, exactly. Great. What's $100 more?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, what the hell's the difference? I'm gonna get paid next Friday.
How hard
anyway.
can it be?
Don't say that. Oh man.
Well, now that we gotten some information from a resident in New York, let's talk about our trip to New York. We went to Long Island with Steve K and Maddie C and all the great folks out there. Did you guys want to lead into that there then?
The island. We went to
island.
Long Island.
Hey, New York. The Van Wyck. What's the deal with the island? It's Massapequa. You don't know. Aggressive Seinfeld references. Oh, it's good, Jerry. You gotta get out. What are you taking the LIE for? Oh my God, we're never gonna get there. Yes, no, we had an amazing time as always. That's kind of like our family trip almost with all this. It's a very kind of low key trip where we just spend time with like our guys. I don't even know what.
Let's just say it's a very close group of guys.
Yeah,
you got to think of it like Trainapalooza is like this large event that's just like you said, like a TCA thing. Consider this this is a group of guys going on a mini vacation and all just staying in one place.
Pretty much, yeah. It feels like a family vacation.
It does.
So we had the Chicago guys fly out with us, and then we came up from Maryland and Virginia, and everybody, a lot of the local New York guys come down and hang out, and it was just a great time to just reconnect. Steve, we can only sing. How much can we sing praises of Steve?
Steve is the best.
Steve is literally the best. If you're listening, Steve, which of course we know you are, as always, what more can we say that has not been said? It's always super, super fun getting to go there. He amazing host. Steve is like, his big passion of his, he's always doing these huge, like he's always I can't words tonight. He's always helping to cater these huge parties, and he's one of the most dedicated people when it comes to just his community and just being friends with people. He is such a good guy.
Yeah, and so he put on this. He's been doing this for what? This is the fourth year, I think.
Fourth one, I think. Yeah.
I went to it's funny talking with Steve. So the first time I went, I was just it was like the first. It was like a month before my first year of college, and so I was basically still a high schooler, and so I had never driven all the way to New York or anything like that by myself. And so it was funny back then. I had to he called me. I'd never talked with Steve prior to that, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm going to invite you and a couple other guys up to the island. We're going to have just the weekend of trains and fun." And I remember I have to ask my parents or whatever. Now I'm just I'm going to the island. See ya. But it's such a great trip. Steve plans it so well, along with our friend Maddie C. He's kind of joined the planning now.
Yes,
kind of add some more flavor to the trip. But Steve,
he's got a great hangout kind of house where he's got a big backyard. We all kind of have he hosts a big barbecue for us, and
Yeah.
we have a big goofy, just fun time there.
Yeah.
The trip is so much fun. So I one of the best parts of that trip every time is all the food that Steve and Maddie's mom makes. This food is so good.
The food is quite excessive in the best kind of way. Like
I can't ask for anything better. It's so good.
The amount of how many we could literally probably offset the aluminum recycling quota of Lower New York with the amount of Mountain Dew cans that are produced from that trip.
Let me be serious. So I was obviously leaving. We all left on whatever day it was, Monday or whatever.
Monday, I think, yeah.
And I remember walking outside and putting all the stuff in my car, and there's like 4 trash cans and cans.
It was all cans.
This is cans.
Oh my god,
so bad. The amount of aluminum that's wasted on just Mountain Dew. Oh gosh.
Actually, I just kind of talking about with the whole traveling aspect. You had mentioned this earlier, Sid, and John, when you guys talked about like going through the tunnels in PA and how it's like a loading screen. So I flew out with Tim and Chicago Jason to go to the island, and I love Chicago Jason because he's got golden retriever energy out the wazoo, and
Jason's the best.
He doesn't fly very often. He does road trips with his family all the time, so flying for him is a special experience, especially when we go see Steve. And so I took the window seat this time, and whenever Jason was next to me, he would just stare out the window next to me. And he's like, look. And every time we were sitting in the terminal, he's like, look, it's the loading screen. We're about to fast travel. He's like, it's a payday loading screen. We're going to fast travel. We're going to go. It's like, oh, my God, Jason. But I'm kind of piggybacking off what you guys said. Steve is unmatched in terms of his kindness, generosity, and his hospitality. There's a circumstance that almost one of our members from our group wasn't able to go, and Steve graciously flew them out. I don't know many guys who go out of the way to do something like that.
No,
especially for someone he considers such a close friend. That's so kind of him to do, and the amount of prep work that both he and Maddie put into this event, the amount of Steve lodging as many of us as he does, and making sure the layout is up to snuff, and them getting all these different places for us to hang out and check out, booked and stuff like that. That was such a great experience. Maddie's mom working her rear off to make all this great food, and same goes with Steve, giving us friggin' 2 a.m. in the morning burgers every single night.
Luckily, this time there were no 1-inch thick slices of cheese. That was
there weren't these bricks of cheese that Maddie cut that were the size that were as thick as Soviet apartment blocks. But
eats burgers now.
but Steve's layout is such a great place to hang out because it's not only the main layout. There's places to chill out. There's there's slot machines. There's the jukebox. There's the post-war layout. There's so much that goes into his space that makes it so fun. And then seeing Maddie's layout progress because he's put a lot of work into it these past couple months over the past year.
He has.
It's like night and day.
He has.
Seeing his scenery and really him making a layout of his own was really nice. Getting to hang out with so many of our friends from our community and just close friends in general. Mike, Kisco Falls, always a joy to see him. I only get to see him on the island, and I wish I get to see him more often. But he's always a pleasure to talk to. He's such a strong supporter of our show.
Loves the podcast, and he's always super, just like he always has great suggestions. He's always really, really positive to us about it.
Oh, 100%. He gave us such wonderful feedback on the Glenn show recently, and I can't thank him enough for that. Getting to hang out with Tony and getting to hang out with RJ and Sam, those guys we don't see very often in person. Again,
Sam came all the way from Indiana for that.
Blake and his brothers, everyone from the island is great. Greg too, obviously everyone's fantastic. And then I think we were planning to stop at other layouts, but those didn't pan out, which is fine. But getting to see Dashing Dan's club and meet Dashing Dan was a fantastic experience.
Another big podcast supporter, Mr. Dashing Dan.
Mr. Villarreal.
Central Operating Lines.
Central Operating Lines. That's the name. Yeah,
Central Operating Lines of Long Island.
That club was amazing. All very nice people. I remember there was like a little break room off to the side. A ton of cool people in there just chilling out, like eating donuts. I can't remember what kind of donuts they were. There was a box and the donuts were like huge. They were like, they weren't like that. They were just very large compared to just
okay. So it wasn't just
your
me.
granny's donuts.
Yeah, it wasn't just me. Those were excessively large. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Like they're very large. Like the biggest donut I've ever seen was in Seattle. This donut that was the size of like my face. The Seattle has this place that makes these huge donuts. But yeah, these donuts were just very large. It was so funny. But no, that their club was very cool. Very nice layout. Lots of action going on. And of course, just great people. Dashing Dan kind of put on
poor
a show
Dan running around answering all of our questions. Can we put this train on? Which train can go here? Can we do this one? And he's trying to run his train at the same time. Yeah. He was so patient with us.
It was so good. Much better than some
putting up with the Reading shambles.
Oh my god! Reading shambles. Yes.
Tony and Burns. Yeah, I know. Well, at least I know Tony. I know you listen to us.
Oh my gosh, Tony and Burnsy had their Rambles passenger train with a T1 or some F units, one of the two, and it was just very long, classic Lionel couplers, always coming undone. And then, of course, me over here with Chesapeake and Ohio, the George Washington, no issues, heavyweight passenger cars,
flawlessly.
TMCC flawless, no issues. And so I'm just like, of course, the Reading shambles.
Friendly reminder, listeners, it's okay to oil your coupler pivots. So the big screw where the coupler attaches to the body. You can oil that so the coupler will move with the train.
He's gonna give us an earful.
Oh, Burns! Tony's gonna laugh it off. Burns, you'll be like, "I hate you now." Again, first you talk about Penzi, and then you besmirch Reading. No, we're just teasing. We had a great time with everybody. I love talking with Tony and Burnsy about stuff.
It was so great. And then the I got to get back to the whole family like kind of atmosphere of it is. At so many times we're just like a bunch of like cousins or like brothers. It's just so fun. All the just shenanigans, us doing goofy things, I don't know. What was there like at some point I think we were all putting things onto each other's trains or something, or I don't know. We were just doing all kinds of goofy things, and oh gosh, I don't remember where we were coming back from. It might have been Maddie's house. The one night, but like this trip as well, I drove my other Corvette, and so we were driving back. Everyone's kind of lined up together, and I just goof off. I do a burnout in front of everyone. There's just smoke behind us as I drive away.
Johnny got to ride with Sid in that one.
Yeah,
I gotta say, so as a non-car person, car. If you talk cars to me, you might as well be speaking Greek to me. I don't understand any of it, but I have to say. This trip to the island really opened my eyes to that, because when we were driving to visit, like, oh my god, I gotta say also thank you, RJ, for letting us see your layout. My god, dude, awesome, and getting to see how much has changed since then.
Yes,
fantastic. But driving to RJ's and then driving from RJ's to Maddie's with Sid, getting to ride in his car. I can understand why there's so much passion, because it's such a cool car. You feel cool while you're in it, and you can tell he's put a lot of time and energy and blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. And being in the first time ever experiencing being in a car that's doing a burnout, that was really freaking cool. And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, getting to also ride in Steve's classic car. What a joy.
Yes, his Ford Model A. Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. I have so many things to say about that, but yes, that was fantastic. Because everybody went in groups. Like, I forgot the groups now, but everybody went in groups. Steve took everyone out on their own.
Johnny, you and I rode together in the rumble seat, Johnny, which was super, super fun. That again, like an amusement park ride. That was so much fun to do. I'd never gotten to do something like that before.
Nothing's more fun than being in a car like that.
Yeah.
Where you're like going, you feel like a celebrity. And then when Steve hits that Ugo horn and then people go nuts, it's great. Oh my god, John, you and I are laughing like psychopaths, and also like desperately trying to save our hair. But
oh yeah, we're covered. We're hold the bangs down, hold the line.
I spent like so much time styling this, but this is so cool. But I'm gonna look like I'm wearing a toupee.
Convertible hair was worth it.
Convertible hair.
And I remember, I think just about everyone had gone for a ride except for me and maybe one or two other people. And so Steve takes me out by myself. We talk kind of cars as we're driving around. Then we come back, and then I think there's maybe, what is it? It's like Tony and like one other person that still want to go on a ride or still need a ride. And so Steve's like, "You want to give it a go?" And I was like, "Heck yeah!" And so he let me drive the Model A, which was, it's crazy. That was the easiest car to drive. I've never driven a car that's just so easy to drive. Like, it's easier to drive than my Corvette. Anything, literally anything. Like, there's nothing easier to drive than that car. It's a manual, of course, but it's so simple. It's so mechanical, and so there's not much to really mess up. Well, I guess some people do, but yeah, it was just so much fun. I think there's some photos from Tony and a couple other people of me driving it, and Steve just having a blast, because that's what Steve told me after. He's like, "Next time you're here, you need to give me a ride while I'm in the back," because Steve's never gotten to experience the rumble seat or just really experience riding in it, because he's always the one driving it for other people. So that was kind of fun. And
Hey Sid, next year I'm gonna be driving it too. So
Yes.
you and Steve can both hang out in the back seat if you want. You can. I'll do the full goggles and everything with the big coat and all the. I'm sure Blake has all that stuff. I know for a fact he probably does.
Yes, we gotta get you up to speed on all the basic mechanical aspects. But yeah, it'll be so much fun to ride in that, because Steve just like both the cars. Actually, I guess all three of the cars are just kind of passion projects for him. But the Model A is just like your classic American car. It's very cool. It's red, cream colored wheels. It's just very, very cool. A lot of fun, and there's a lot of history with that car and Steve, and just kind of sentimental value. So it's just so much fun. The again, just not only the train stuff, but just the other things you can do when you're with friends, whether it's trains or just cars, whatever it might be. We did all kinds of things.
If I can, Sid, real quick, I'll kind of put it into perspective how much we love this, how much we all love this trip. So I actually didn't go up on the first day. I came up on the second day, which was, I think, Friday night into Saturday.
Yes, it was.
Because I was a groomsman at a wedding of my friends. Paul, I know you're definitely absolutely not listening to this show, but like, amazing wedding. Thank you. Very honored to be part of that. But the wedding, weddings run, quite late into the night. And I think I was about 10 o'clock when I left the wedding. I have to drive home to my house. I'm like, all right, I know that New York is about a 4-hour trip from my house, 4.5, depending on traffic, but it's the dead of night. I'm like, all right, I'm not missing out on a second of this. I literally leave that wedding. I go home, I throw my suit off. My bag is already packed, get in the car, go pick up Brendan in Maryland. And we're literally like all through the night, like into the morning, straight up to Long Island. Like, we got there, I think, at 4 a.m.
I thought I was gonna stay up until you got there, and then when I learned that it was gonna be like 3 a.m. or whatever, I was just like, "Sorry, John, I can't."
Oh yeah, no. We didn't want you guys to step either. We're like, we're gonna like ninja into the house, and we did. We didn't wake anybody up. I was super proud of that. But like, listen, folks. If you ever need to get to New York through New York quickly, nighttime. There is nothing like going 85 miles per hour, 65 for any police officers listening, through Brooklyn at night. Like, just go, oh my God. And then having to leave in the traffic. It takes so much longer.
Gosh, the traffic is so annoying. Bernsey and I took this weird route where we like, what did we do? I don't remember. We went across, what's the most southern bridge on the island? I forgot.
Will be the Verrazano. The one we take.
It was the Verrazano. We take Throg's Neck, but we went to the Verrazano, and then we didn't cut back over. We like, I don't remember now. It was very complicated because there was a bunch of accidents, and construction, so it was just this weird pattern, just sitting and underneath bridges and things. So, traffic in New York is a pain.
The Verrazano also feels like a loading screen.
Yeah,
almost, because it's one of those things that's so big it takes forever to get across, and it's like slow motion. And Johnny, you guys flew into the island this time, didn't you?
We did. We did that last year too, but we flew on onto the island this time, which was so much nice, so much better than going to the other airport because we weren't standing in security for over an hour.
So how was BWI? That's the question.
Oh my god, BWI was a really nice airport.
Yes.
We had some layovers both ways, but oh my god, it's such a nice airport. Just to
underrated
walk around.
airport, honestly.
Very underrated.
Such an easy flight too. We're definitely going to be keeping that in mind for future trips.
Looking for something different? Need a gift for a fellow rail fan? Well, folks, look no further. NPL Customs is your source for all railroading decor. Handcrafted, made in the USA, and veteran-owned. Their products made for rail fans by rail fans. I personally have a set of coasters from them that I absolutely love. Find them on Etsy at NPL Customs and use code MMPodcast at checkout to save 10%. NPL Customs, quality since 2017.
Just so we can be able to keep this show under 2 hours, let's touch base on the last trip I want to talk about. This
your
is one
big
that
planning, Johnny. This is
yes. So, like I said, I love doing big trips in terms of planning and having people over. So one of the things that Matt R and I have kind of had in the works for quite a while is having people over for Big Boy. UP announced the Heartland Tour, and it was announced that 4014 was going to be here. So that was maybe earlier this month, very beginning of this month. And we had Tony come in, Maddie C., Steve, Greg or K's Models. He a member of our Discord community who I've wanted to really hang out with for quite a while, and had him come out. We also had members from D3R, Greg and Dan Browning, and then we had Adam Miller come out. Bunch of just great guys. And then also having them meet some of the Chicago guys, such as we also get to meet Steve or Big Boy's Trainz. Nice to meet him finally, and have them meet Rafe as well. So that was a big planning. That was a big task. Is an understatement. But making sure that there was enough time for everybody to not only come out and hang out with us, but to also see the Big Boy, which presented its own challenges. So Friday, everybody arrived. It was I got a chance to hang out with Maddie and Steve. We went out to Cantigny, or Cantigny, however you pronounce it, which is a great, huge former mansion property. So there's a mansion on site, and then there's also the tank park that you can climb on the tanks, and there's also the first infantry division museum. So that was fun to explore with Sean as well. And then the evening consisted of running trains at my place and getting to meet Big Boy's Trainz, which was the first time we ever interacted. He's a great guy, very passionate about the hobby, and it's nice to make a friend that's local to you. A lot of our friends are from the East Coast, so it's nice to have someone who can join us for our little small run sessions. Saturday was a big day, where it was visiting hobby shops in the morning. So we visited Berwyn's, which is always a blast, and then we visited America's Best, which is just a fun store, not for just trains, but also just for general fun knickknacks and toys as well. And then we went to our buddy Ken's house, and Ken has a beautiful O-scale layout that's got very detailed buildings, an awesome track plan, weathered everything. Genuinely is one of those layouts that we love to show off, and I can't wait to show off to John and Sid next time that they come here. And then the evening was a run session at the bunker, and we really got to let loose and have fun then. Sunday, and this is where Matt R can jump in. So we went to the Wheaton Train show in the morning, and our plan was after the Wheaton Train show, we go get breakfast, see Big Boy, and then we go to IRM and then spend the rest of the night at the bunker. The logic is like, oh, how long can people really stare at a stationary big boy for, right? We'll be in there, we'll deal with some traffic and parking. It'll suck, but we'll walk in, we'll look at it, stare at it for maybe like half an hour to an hour, and then we'll leave. We're sitting there getting breakfast, and I'm sitting next to Sean, and Sean, like, man, I really don't want to deal with the traffic out there. I've never been out to Rochelle before, but these guys came out here to see it, so let's do it. And Greg, who's sitting next to me, he's like, man, he's checking one of his Discords. He's like, dude, the traffic is so bad. It's like, how bad is it? And it's a case where it was backed up all the way. So I'm used to when Big Boy was here for West Chicago. West Chicago is a pretty decently sized, small town. And because it's on the UP West line, you can take Metro in to see Big Boy. Don't use public transit. There's lots of parking, all that other stuff, because it's the middle of town. With Rochelle, they positioned it in UP's intermodal facility. So there's only like one road, if I interpreted the map correctly. And people are coming off the expressway to go into this road. So it was just a huge bottleneck of traffic. And you could see it on Google Maps. And when we checked it, there was an accident on the exit ramp, and then it was backed out to the exit ramp. I think it was backed up for like 3 miles. So both Sean and I are looking at this going, oh my God, we don't want to go out there, but we have to because we promised. And I think the guys caught on because they could see both Sean and I were stressed. And we had a group discussion. And basically, we separated into 2 groups. Group A was going to be Sean and I, and we basically, anybody who didn't really care too much about missing Big Boy or who had already seen Big Boy would come with us to IRM. We'd spend the entire day at IRM. Anybody who desperately wanted to see the Big Boy would go with Matt R. And Matt R actually was the perfect person to lead that group because you managed to make that work. How was the experience for you?
Sure. First of all, big thanks to you, Johnny, for creating kind of the entire plan for the weekend. So kudos to you. In fact, you usually make the plan for all of our get-togethers, and it's usually spot on. So appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, man.
And I think everyone else does too. So on to visiting the Big Boy in Rochelle. So we heard, from folks that it was kind of crazy out there. So what we ended up doing is we got off the exit before, which was perfectly fine. In fact, I will tell you, we saw Big Boy without actually ever getting stuck in any kind of traffic. And I'll tell you how. We got off the exit before, and it was thanks to Big Boy's Trainz, who actually had mentioned that. He's like, hey, we get off before, we can probably go around. We did that. We went around, and we ended up, we could see there, like Johnny said, there was one road that went into this facility. But the problem is every other crossroad leading up to this was backed up. So you had people coming from off the ramp getting stuck. You had people coming from the north getting stuck. You had people coming on the general road coming, from the eastbound stuck as well. Because you're trying to filter all of these cars into one line. And the interesting thing was there was plenty of parking. And well, let me explain how I got there first. We ended up parking outside of town. Just on the outside of town. And we ended up hiking it. It was like, I think it was around 2.5 miles. But we're like, you know what? Let's just hike it. It's fine. It wasn't hot out, which was kind of nice. There was a little bit of a breeze. And the guys who came with me, there were 2 other gentlemen with me, and we parked, and there's a lot of people walking, and we were passing tons of cars that were barely even moving. And I believe it was over like 60,000 people, visited Big Boy in Rochelle, Illinois. And like I said, this is a small, very farm town. So kudos to the Rochelle. I think they did as good as job as they could with the amount of personnel that they can. I think it was almost impossible to get people in and out of there easy. I think it's just a victim of it being a small town, limited resources. I think they did the best job they could. So kudos to the Rochelle people. I know they did. But we hiked it. We finally got up there. It was amazing. Got some cool gear. Was able. They were blowing the whistle constantly, and I think we spent about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours up there, just kind of looking at different things, taking photos, everything else. We decided it was, we were done. We were walking back. We were now just to say, we walked there. We were there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we walked back. We were passing cars that we saw going in to see Big Boy. That's how long it was to sit in line. I think it was 3 hours. If you were to like get in line at the off ramp, I believe it was around 3 hours before you could actually get in and park. And the weird thing was, like I said before, like when you got up there in the facility, like there was plenty of parking. Like it wasn't like people were waiting for people to pull out so they could pull into space. It was a huge area. It was just this sheer amount of people trying to get in at the same time. And it just caused so much of a, not a roadblock, but, just everyone channeling in the same place. And, thank goodness, like it was for the most part, like safe. I don't think there were any major issues except for, I think that accident that was near the off ramp. But yeah, it was worth it to see for me. I will say, Johnny, the difference between seeing it this time and not in West Chicago is that I saw it in West Chicago when it was here, back in 2019. Mm-hmm. But oh my God, I think it was like 100 degrees outside. It was hot that day.
I was ready to melt, dude. I was more sweat than person that day.
Totally. It was a shorter walk, but oh my God, it was hot and steamy. And when here in Rochelle, it was actually a nice day. It wasn't even cloudy, so the sun was hitting you pretty hard. But I definitely almost collapsed when I came back. I was like, I gotta sit down. So, like I usually don't walk that much, and that was a lot of walking, but it was definitely worth it for sure.
Wasn't it like a 40-minute walk for you guys, or something like that?
Yeah, it was about 45 minutes.
Oh, jeez. Yep. Well, how about let's turn, just for summary on my side. We went to IRM and we did all the fun IRM stuff that we basically did with Sid and John, so I won't repeat that, but that was a fun time getting to take some guys there for the first time, and one of the guys had brought one of their sons brought their son along, and he was oh my God, he was my favorite part of that entire trip, genuinely, because he's so funny, and getting to see, we get to see the Rare Museum from the perspective of us old quote unquote guys, but getting to see a kid's perspective and seeing how they react to all the trains is it's adorable. But after we finished up at Big Boy and after we finished up at IRM, we went back to the bunker and we ran some trains. Matt R, I'll throw it back to you. You actually got some stuff. You actually got some stuff. What'd you end up getting?
I did. So I think I'll break the suspense and just say that I did end up getting one of the new UPFEFs 844 Greyhound with a really beautiful semi-gloss paint on it. It's probably the most gorgeous steam engine I've ever owned.
So for the most part.
Like Lionel knocked it out of the park with these FEFs, which I was really hopeful for. And I'm a big fan of Greyhound. I know some people are like, I just want it to be the black, I like good old black 844, but I like Greyhound color on UP engines. I think they look awesome. So I got the Greyhound with the yellow stripe, which is my favorite combination. And that goes well, with my aux tenders and my UP cars. So really excited. I think I actually ran it first on your layout, Johnny. I was like, hey, can I just bring this over and let's test it out? And it ran well there, and it got to stretch its legs quite a bit at the bunker for sure.
Why did you have to do that? Now I want it. I want you guys to know. So since Matt R can't, for the listeners, Matt R can't run that engine at home, so he leaves it at the bunker. Which means, and he's been gracious enough to say that I've been able to, I could enjoy it while I'm at the bunker too. That thing gets pulled out of the siding every time I'm there. I hope you know that. And I run it obviously respectfully, but I run it every single time. And I remember messaging John and Sid late at night. I'm like, guys, I want one of these, and I'm so angry. I want one.
I can attest.
It did the same thing to me with his 840 whatever that he got the FDF one. He did the exact same thing.
I can attest. I have the 841 with no smoke deflectors and the kind of semi-gloss finish, and then I have Steve actually has lent me his was it 843, the other Greyhound with the white stripe.
It's also Steve's fault, right?
Yeah,
right,
with the white stripe.
And so, I can attest. I have two of them at my house. They are fantastic models. Yeah, I was actually, it's funny. This is kind of a very specific thing, but I was talking with Johnny the other evening about how even like not every like all the new Lionel models, the new tech really does just add a little bit of just I don't know. I don't want to say goodness, but it is nice getting a model that they have done before, but just with some new electronics, and of course these had a very unique set of finishes, having that kind of semi-gloss. So these models are just fantastic. They look great. They sound great. Well worth getting one.
It's one of their best engines they've done in a long time. It's made me so excited for their future releases coming up. I'm so pumped. If anyone from Lionel is listening, good freaking job.
It is like one of the best just base legacy engines I've seen in quite a long time. Yeah,
I'm so jelly.
Everything's all about Vision Line now and all the crazy features, but these don't have any crazy features. They're just really good looking engines, really good sounds. There's nothing really to complain about with them. I can't really come up with anything like, and I shouldn't really have to. Like, it's just a good model.
Yeah, you
and really quickly. Oh, I was just gonna say really quickly. As far as price point goes, I mean, it has whistle steam, obviously, but it is they only bumped it up, and I should say only, but it was only a small bump up in price. Like they didn't drastically raise the price from when it was released the time before. When was it released last? Like 2017?
2015-ish, I think. Or
2015. Yeah. 16. I mean, so almost like what? Like 9 years ago? And I think they bumped it up $100.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I think that's...
Wow. That's not bad at all.
And I think you can get it for like, if you pre-order and everything, I think you're looking at, I think you can pre-order for like around 1,600.
Yeah.
I think out the door.
And no gearbox problems.
It's a really good, it's a really good model because, and just you have to think about it with the FES as well. They had made two of them previously. The first generation sounds great. Unfortunately, they have zinc rot issues, so that kind of deters you from wanting to buy those. The second generation, very good sounds, good finishes. It was just kind of limited in your paint schemes and things like that. So this new run, just having good paint schemes, good finishes, good sounds, and just very good model. I think, that extra $100, I guess, the way I see it is like you're paying for some upgraded electronics, really good, paint finish. And they also changed the tooling a little bit. The smoke deflectors are removable, or rather more easily removable with the magnets and little pegs, instead of just being screwed on. And just really good models from Lionel.
You guys really know how to kick a man when he's down, huh?
They're awful, aren't they, Johnny? We have to we have to get revenge on them by buying FBX. That's the best way we can.
The good news is, Johnny, is that it'll live pretty much at the bunker for a very long time. So
but I gotta buy one in New York, man.
Yeah, go for it, man.
What's up, man?
So I'm curious now. Which one would you get?
Well, it mattered. Interject real quick, and then I'll answer the question.
Yep.
No, that's all good. I was just gonna say, when they first announced that, I was gonna pre-order one, and then they changed the render on the website. The render in the book was no smoke deflectors, no emergency light, and coal tender. They changed the render to be emergency light, still no smoke deflectors with oil tender. I'm like, oh, which one is it? So I wasn't gonna take the gamble. And then when they showed up, I'm like, oh no, great, And Sid bought one, and I'm like, oh, I think I need that now.
Good.
But
it's so good.
I love my original. I got the black 844. I love it. But this new one is, it's so nice. It almost kind of combines all the run's features and paint and detail and sounds and everything. It's almost like the holy grail FEF, if that's a word.
No, I completely agree. Those engines, it's not very often nowadays, and I say this with a lot of snootiness, but it's not very often that after being spoiled by DCC, that I am impressed by a legacy steam locomotive. It is, Lionel has been using a lot of the same whistles, and it doesn't have as much magic as it used to. But these engines, they brought back a lot of the great whistles with feedback from folks and such like that. The OGFEF whistles there, the big boy whistles in there, and the Challenger whistle, and a bunch of other stuff. I really like the big boy whistle because it's not like in the Vision line, the most recent Vision line big boy, where it's too echoey. It's just that right amount where it's very similar to 844's real whistle.
Yeah.
It's got the good bells in it. The chuff is thunderous. The cab chatter is good. It is just a beautiful engine overall, and it's such a joy to run. To answer Matt R's question, since I have a set of two-tone gray with white stripe Golden Gate Depot coaches, I'd like to get the two-tone gray with the white stripe FEF to match it. So hopefully I can find one at York for a good price, and I'd like to take that home with me. That's my that's the engine I'm looking for. But even if it's not there, I'll buy it from someone else. So, but
Nice.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful engines. So we'll see how that goes. And then just to kind of wrap things up here before we get too long in the tooth here. Last day, everybody went home, and we were planning to just kind of take it easy that day. I dropped off Steve and Maddie at the airport, and I was just chilling at I think I was chilling at McDonald's on the way home. I was like, yeah. I know Sean and Greg were planning to stop by Lombard Hobbies, and I was still in the Elmhurst area. So I was sitting at a McDonald's, and I was having breakfast, and just for kicks and giggles, I had messaged Train Man Dan, who was chasing Big Boy at the time. And Dan had made mention that I was going to go down the UP West line, which is the line where Matt R. and I live nearby. So I had messaged him like, "Oh, Dan, how's the chase going?" He's like, "Oh, we're going through." I think he said he was going through Elburn, and I'm like, "Elburn? That's on the UP West line. Is it going to Chicago right now? Like, is it going through my town?" And he's like, "Don't know if it's going to be going there. Kind of hard to tell." I'm like, Dan's not a local, so he doesn't know that it's on the UP West line. So logic-wise, if it's in Elburn, it's coming to Elmhurst. So I'm like, okay, let me drive to Lombard Hobbies. I'll park there, and then I will stand by the crossing there. So in my FOMO excitement, I get in my car and I drive the complete wrong direction, go the wrong way. So I drove to Villa Park instead. And as I was turning to go the right direction, I crossed over the tracks right by the Villa Park train station. And I'm like, oh, instead of parking in a really tiny hobby shop parking lot, why don't I go park in the Villa Park Metro parking lot? So I pull over, and I get in there. At this point, I'm still unsure if Dan is on the right path or not. Of course, he was in the end, but I was unsure because I didn't know if it was going to separate and go somewhere else, go to a different line or what have you. So I get out of my car, and I sprint up the hill to the train station, and I see a bunch of people standing around, and I'm like, are these commuters or what? And I look carefully, and they all got their phones out and their cameras and their tripods. Like, oh, great, foamers. So I asked, just to make sure, hey, you guys waiting for Big Boy? Oh yeah, we're waiting for Big Boy. So I camp out my spot, and I text Sean, and hey Sean, I know you're going to Lombard right now, but I'm in Villa Park. If you and Greg want to see Big Boy, get over here fast and camp out for Big Boy. I don't know how far it is, but it's on its way. So I wait for them, and I see them walking over, and they come and join me. And the next step is, I'd seen this happen when Big Boy came through in 2019. And it's a video of some people standing on top of Wheaton Center at these apartment complexes filming Big Boy. And there's people who are standing on one side of the tracks and standing on the other side of the tracks. UP West Line is, I think, a triple track main, if memory serves you right, Matt. It's a triple track main. And what happened in 2019 is the people in Wheaton who were standing on the wrong side of the tracks got their view blocked by an incoming Metro train. So me not wanting to have that happen, I was like, okay, logic-wise, UP West Line runs backwards, runs in reverse. So Big Boy has to be coming down this track. So I camped up the track. We waited for the Big Boy to come through. And as we hear Big Boy whistling off in the distance, we hear the dreaded attention metro commuters, inbound train, outbound train, blah, blah, blah is coming. It's like, oh, goodness, what track is it coming down? And thankfully, we look down the line and we can see headlights coming towards us of an F40. And I go and I tell Greg and I tell Sean, I'm like, guys, that's coming to our track. We need to beeline it to the other side of the tracks now. So Greg was like, well, if I stand there, then I won't get, I'll get the sun in the wrong direction. So I'll just stay here. Sean and I are like, okay, we're going to bolt to the other side. And not as soon as the metro train came in and stopped at the station, thankfully for Greg, they had parked as far down as they possibly could to be out of the way. Big Boy comes thundering through, and I had never seen Big Boy in motion before. I've seen it in terms of up close at speed. I saw it shunting around cars and back into the training facility in West Chicago, but I didn't get to see it at speed. So seeing Big Boy thunder past at track speed with the whistle blowing, my God, it blows your ears out. That was such a cool experience, and I'm so glad that on a whim that I was able to catch it. And I think you got to have the exact very similar experience as well, Matt R.
Yeah, funny enough, I found out because Facebook. I just opened up Facebook, and the coffee shop here in Elmhurst was like, hey, come get some coffee and see Big Boy come through. I'm like, what does that mean? So I go on to UP's website and they have like a tracker, right? You can track where Big Boy's at. It's in Lombard. I'm like, well, okay, I'm in Elmhurst. I'm like two stops away. I'm like, all right, I got time. Jump in my car. I get there, I get out. People, well, the usual people set up with their cameras and their stands, and they're filming it. But there wasn't a lot of people. I mean, it wasn't packed at all. And I think, I don't know if this was like a last minute decision or something, but obviously, and I don't know why UP did it. The only thing I could think of is maybe they wanted to give other people a chance who didn't get to see it come down the UP line. Again, I don't know if that's correct. That's just, making stuff up as I go here, but it would be nice if they did that, right? To give people a chance to see it who didn't, but because there's a lot of big towns on that line, but got my camera out, and you are right, Johnny, it was flying, and my gosh, man, when it comes past you and you could feel like in your chest, like you could feel like just the thunder of it just banging on your chest as it goes by. And it's like, that was freaking awesome. So thank goodness I checked Facebook, because I would have been very, very disappointed. Now, I did get it when it came through in 2019, but this one was very much faster, and it was just blowing its whistle. I think it was blowing its whistle like just, I don't think he ever stopped blowing it down the UP West line, at least in Elmhurst, because when he came through, he never stopped. Like it was like almost like 2-3 minutes straight. It was just blowing the whistle, which was very good, and it was got a really nice video out of it as well.
Yeah, you could hear that whistle for miles. And for any of our listeners who want to see the footage from Matt R and myself, Trey Mandan, check out his latest video about Big Boy, because our footage is featured in there. So check out his video. But yeah, it was we met up afterwards. We went to Lombard Hobbies together. Where you told us, because Sean and I were like, oh, we should have told Matt R the Big Boy was coming. It's like, it's a bit too late for that crud. I thought we should have thought of that. Thankfully, you already figured it out. So, but yeah, no, we met up. We went to Lombard Hobbies. We peer pressured Greg into buying stuff. You bought HO. You bought another engine. And then we just had a chill day. So it was a very, we split off after getting Portillo's, and it was a nice way to end the weekend.
Enjoying this week's topic? You can join in on the conversation too on our community Discord server. We have a lot of different discussion channels, ranging from showing off your collection, discussing the latest and greatest in the industry, a buy and sell forum, and even a voice channel you can hop on call and talk Trainz with us late into the night. We're a little over 300 strong, and we'll love to have you join us too. Check out the invite link to our community Discord down in the show notes. Read and acknowledge the rules, and introduce yourself and start chatting. We have a great team of moderators who make sure all are welcomed and respected. So what are you waiting for? Come on down and join us in on the fun, and let's talk some Trainz.
But I think that concludes our most recent escapades, at least that I can think of. We do have York coming up in less than a month as of time of recording, so we hope to see all of you there. But is there anybody else who wants to chime in with any closing thoughts or any other stories you want to throw in?
I really quickly on York. I do plan on going to York. However, there is a chance that I might not be able to go, and it's for good reasons. I can tell you that much. But we do have plenty of buttons, and we have new kind of transparent stickers that we're going to be bringing along. We ordered tons of them. So if you're at York, I don't think we have a booth or anything lined up, but we're going to be walking around. Please come up to us, and we'll give you a button, we'll give you a sticker, shake your hand, sign an autograph, take a picture, whatever you want is fine. But yeah, we're going to have some really cool stuff with us at York.
Yeah, come walk up to us, say hello. And we love interacting with you guys. It really helps to put a face to the names. You know, we only get to see some of the comments, and obviously it tells us how many people check out the episodes, but getting to meet you guys in person and hearing your feedback is super important to us. And if you want to get a chance to be featured on our Instagram, I bet if you hunt down John, he'd be more than happy to take a picture with you so I can put you on our York post.
Oh yes, we are looking forward to seeing everybody there. It's going to be an excellent time. We can't wait to talk with all you guys and have you guys see the new merch. As Matt was saying, it's going to be great. The Alco may or may not make an appearance somewhere. We'll see if I'm carrying it around possibly. But it's going to be a fun time. We're really looking forward to it, and we can't wait for future Yorks and just possibly getting everybody together. Maybe, or have we teased
Come
that?
on, Matt Z.
Matt Z.
And we have to peer pressure him live on show.
Come
Peer
on.
pressure.
You wanna
Do
go.
it.
We
Do
will.
it. Do
I'll see what I
do
can
it.
do. That's as
Do
best as
it.
I got
Do
for right
it.
now.
Hey, it would be great to get all of us together. It would be the first time it's ever happened, getting all of us from the show together in one place.
It's funny. I mentioned this whenever this comes up now. I've known Matt Z longer than any of you, and yet I've never interacted with him face to face. So come on, Matt Z.
It's gonna be fun.
Matt Z, unlimited black licorice.
Oh, that might have sold him.
Yeah. Okay.
What about unlimited anchovy flavored black licorice?
I'll sneak so many anchovies in your
Oh,
carry-on.
Anchovies flavored black licorice.
The smelly smell.
I'll see what I can do. How about that?
The moment we've all been waiting for.
He walks up. It's the Mr. Krabs thing. It's the that smell, the kind of smelly smell. The smelly smell that smells smelly. Zasucha.
Sucha.
What?
What are they selling?
Any other closing thoughts from anyone here, and we'll get started with our outro here.
You're welcome for all the
Covered a
UP
lot.
stuff, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Darn you, Sid and John, for all your very good pictures of FEFs that they've been spamming us during the show.
What's
Oh,
that?
Curse
You want,
you.
you want more?
No.
Okie
We don't want
dokie.
more. No more. That's enough.
More posts.
More.
Oh, don't go in that folder.
Push. Push.
But lots of
All right.
fun. Super happy to have had those adventures with you guys. And for anybody who hasn't had one yet, do so as soon as you can, because it really makes this hobby enjoyable.
It is. It's not the trains, as we always say. It's the people.
It is
Yep.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking of people, we have an amazing community, and we'd like to take a moment to shout out some of those fantastic people who boosted the server and helped us keep the lights on here at the Miniature Models Podcast Discord server. SD_Div_Tim, Tim's Trainz, Blue Comet Fan 833, Maddie C Trainz, Newt 1969, Commodore Ghost Ninja, The Rambles, Hard Work Pays Off, Dashing Dan's Trainz, Every Day is Life, and SD70 Train Fan. Thank you so much for those guys. We appreciate it. In fact, there's a lot of names on here I've seen on this list for a very long time. So we really appreciate the support. All right. Well, tonight was an awesome show, but I see our stop is coming up next. If you'd like to get more of us off the air, where can folks find you? I'll start out with Mr. Sid from Sid's Trainz.
You can find me on YouTube under the YouTube channel name Sid's Trainz. You can find me on Instagram under Sydney's Trainz, and you can also find me on Discord under Sid's Trainz on the podcast Discord server.
And Mr. John S.
Thank you, Matt. You can find me on Instagram at RetroMikado96 and on YouTube at RetroMikado. Video plug I've said for the last couple of shows, insert into here. Smile and look to camera B. You can also find me. You can also find me on the Miniature Models Podcast Discord server, where we love talking with all you guys, and we have a great community there. So if you're not a member yet, why not? If you're listening to the show, join the community. It's fantastic. And also, do not forget to follow the Miniature Models Podcast Instagram account, which is at Miniature Models Podcast, where you can get exclusive content, see some of our fantastic hosts' travels, and of course, follow our mascot around the country as it visits layouts and events of all of our friends. So be sure to follow that as well, guys.
Johnny, how about yourself?
You can find me at Audamus, that's AUDAMUS, on YouTube, where I also, like John, have been promising videos that I have yet to be able to produce. With York coming up, maybe I'll be able to make one. I'm thinking about making a video about Blue Nami and how it, my thoughts on it after a year. But, you know, we'll see. Sometimes I make videos. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Audamus_Trainz, where I am slightly more active than I am on YouTube and posting lots of cool photos of things that I've worked on, such as weathering projects, layout updates, and cool things from the bunker. So check that out if you're interested. And last but not least, please check me out on the Miniature Models Podcast Community Discord, where I am reading and responding to all of your posts and making a fool of myself in voice chat. So come on down. It's lots of fun. And I do, in fact... I mentioned this to Tony last time, which terrified him. I do actually read all of your comments on the Miniature Model Podcast community Discord. Since I'm a mod, I am contractually obligated to do so. But I just love seeing what you guys have to say. We're such an awesome community, and I love interacting with all of you.
Matt Z. Where can people find you, man?
Well, you know, we went through this whole thing, and I didn't even have a chance to tell you I got an engine with Blue Nami. Thank you, Johnny. But I guess we got to save that for
what is
episode.
a Blue Nami?
I don't know. What's a Blue Nami?
Is that like is that like a piece of meat or something? Is it?
I think it's like a tsunami, but it's made
It's
of
a fish.
It's like made of that blue toilet water.
No,
That's
I
what
thought it was a bird or something. Isn't it some sort of animal?
We'll have to get into that one in our future Blue
Yes,
Nami
we will.
Blue Nami episode.
Definitely.
But
As a quick little teaser, I really like it. It's a lot of fun. But you can find me on YouTube under Matt-TrainLover9943. I uploaded the video where I'm talking, and it's, you know, like edited and actually halfway decent. It took me way longer than I wanted to, and there's some mistakes in it, but who cares?
All right, Matt. Flex all you want. I made a video. I'm a YouTube
Brag. Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I put content out in a reasonable amount of time.
I'm sorry that some of us have to take a year to produce content. I don't know.
Being a yearly YouTuber is a lot easier.
Tell me about it. I'm an annual guy.
How did the video perform?
Wait for my next annual episode in 1 year.
Annual episode. On this episode of West Chicago Model Railroad, right, Matt?
Yep. It's going to change to this year at the West Chicago Model Railroad.
This millennium.
Oh my God. But Instagram, what's my handle on there? My God, I can't remember. Matt's.hobbies, yeah. Matt's.hobbies. Facebook, I use it every now and well. I haven't even uploaded my new layout on there yet, so let's forget that. But also on the Discord server. Yeah, I don't ever use that. I don't even know why I have it.
But Facebook does not exist in the land of Zasucha.
That was like a Doofenshmirtz pitch. Don't look on Facebook. I'm not there. Nothing is there. Don't look.
I see nothing.
I'm not there.
It's weird that it happened twice.
No, that's all my social media.
All right. Well, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook as WC Model Railroad. I'm also lurking in the Discord quite a bit nowadays. I usually hide in the server room, but I have been a lot more social on Discord, and I like kind of talking with people and seeing all the comments. And you know what? The server's been really active lately, and that's an awesome thing. I like seeing people in there. There's not a category that's like, there's always something new popping up here and there in one of our categories or channels, I should say. So it really excited, and I like that our community is growing too on the Discord. But one thing I don't think that we've ever actually said on the podcast is I want to give a huge shout out to our mods on the Discord. And I'm not talking about the host mods, because we're mods automatically, but I'm talking about the people that are mods that aren't hosts. And one of them is actually here tonight. Sid is also a mod, but there are another group of folks who do a fantastic job. And you know what? They're the heart of the Discord server, to be honest with you. And they do this without even asking for anything in return, just to be on the server. So thank you, mods, for making this just an awesome Discord and a safe Discord for people to come and discuss Trainz.
For sure. We can't do without you guys. You don't ask for anything and don't expect anything. No, I'm kidding.
Yep.
Thank you for all you do.
That's our slogan. That's our new slogan. So.
I want a T-shirt with it.
Wear it to yours.
You got it.
Wear it to yours. People will be asking a lot of questions.
Probably. All right. Well, that concludes the podcast tonight. It was an awesome time, and I thank everybody for joining us here, and can't wait for our next episode. So have a great night, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah, take care.
Good night, guys.